VOD 2 of Widowsensei continued. Alright, so we just got back from you trying to go back in their back line, and it didn't work out too well because our team was shattered and just got rolled. So, continue. I believe this is exactly what I was talking about. Yeah, it is. This is exactly what I was talking about when I was talking about the, your presence threatens everybody, especially if you hit them, right? You do damage to somebody, you threaten with your presence. You are down 2 people here, but Genji got a kill before he died. So, y'all are actually only down 1, right? Most of your team is still alive. You, as Widowmaker, this is your chance to turn the fucking fight. So, you see that Reinhardt's low, or maybe you don't see him, that he's low, and you just see that he's charging, right? You are looking towards the Widow, which is okay, which is good, because you don't want the enemy Widow doing damage. See, now this is where I have a problem, because you hit her, right? You hit her. She is super low HP. You hit her one more time for a full charge shot at the legs or at the body, she dies here.
Adaptive circuits engage.
You missed those 2 shots, and in accordance to you missing those 2 shots, another one of your teammates just died. So, now, the best thing to do here, since she's behind a wall, is to let her think that you're still looking at her. Let her think that you're still looking at her. Don't continue to look at it. In fact, what you could have did was rotated over to the right side of that wall, so where she had to take time to find where you're at because you're not going to be in the same spot anymore. She had to take time to find where you're at. And you can continue to look at the enemy team and then continue to hurt them and pick them off for your team. But instead, you choose to look at a blank empty wall while the team takes your point. You do end up killing her, but you know, what does that really matter now, because you know they're gonna be coming back almost instantly.
Attention où tu mets les pieds.
Again, super aggressive players here. Yeah, your aim right there was really erratic. You gotta remember, whenever you're using SMG, it needs to be a smooth tracking, not flicking. And see, again, you play super aggressive and you get punished for it because you're low HP when you could have went back to get some HP from your healers. You choose to move forward instead and you die from a healer.
No one can hide from my sight.
And this is one of the points I was talking about. Because right now you're pushing super far forward, right? You're so far forward, it's crazy. They just don't see where you're at right now. Only the Zarya does. And the Zarya is charging straight down mid. Not even changing her course. Not going back. Not halting. Not moving left and right. She's charging straight down mid. And you miss 3 shots. So, you missed 3 fully charged shots. Right? Because that was fully charged. Fully charged. Half charge. And then that was fully charged as well, but you didn't shoot it. So, 2 fully charged shots on the head kills Zarya. She's dead. She's deleted. Right? But you missed the shots as she was coming straight at you. Not even moving around, not doing that fancy shit, but she's moving straight at you. Again, instance where you're trying to aim way too quick and be too quick instead of just focusing on accuracy. Like actually aiming it onto her head and hitting it. Again, that could be a problem with your crosshair that being too big, but you know.
Un petit cadeau pour toi.
Watch for that sniper. Let them up.
Everything can be hacked, and everyone. I might need this later. Extrañaste?
I think this area is just a little hectic, you know.
Iniciando translocating.
Not too much I can really say on your somber play here, since you know.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
It is last push essentially. Goddamn, can I speak English? So you know, not a lot you can do there. Just a lost game. But
Victory.
the general synopsis I want you to take from this. Again, I know I'm being super harsh on your aim, but that's just because Widowmaker is a purely aim-dependent character. Really, she is. If your aim is not good enough to play Widowmaker, I could suggest that you just play a different hit scan hero. Because Widowmaker is wholly aim-dependent. You need to practice your aim. Like, it's just super important. Even before you go into a game, practice your aim. There are aim trainers that you can get on PS4 for Overwatch on the workshop that will help you train your aim. There are multiple of them. You can just look them up. A lot of the ones that I recommend using are the ones that have the bouncing heroes feature, where they have heroes bouncing super high up and super low and going at different speeds, so you can focus on just hitting their heads rather than at the speed that they're going, so you just be more accurate at hitting heads while they're in air or moving quickly, and if they're falling down, if they're jumping up, you know, all those kind of different motions, because people make those different kinds of motions. So those particular ones, I would say, the ones that you should definitely look into getting, or you know, practicing on, at least before you enter a game and after you enter the game, and just keep constantly practicing on that. But what I need, I'm fucking yawning, dude. What I need you to take away from this synopsis is that positioning is important with Widowmaker. You being on low ground the entire time as Widowmaker is not good. You need to constantly have in your mind, high ground is my best friend, and you need to constantly be on it. And you need to constantly be moving while on it. Don't stay in one spot the entire time for too long, because then you're going to become a target because they know where you're at. Try to rotate. Doing rotations with Widowmaker is very important. You could have easily went from one side of the high ground to the other side of the high ground, call that a rotation. It's easy. Actually, that is exactly what a rotation is. It's just moving to a different spot, so they have to look in a different area to see where you're at, and then that time, whenever they're looking for you, bam, they're dead. Because you know where they're going. They just don't know where you're going. Because they're having a look at the team right in front of them and not you way back there. So, just think about that, okay? Rotations and moving. And then also staying high ground. But the second thing I'd want you to take away from this is general aim mechanics. It's very important that you hit those easy headshots because they're easy headshots. If you take those guys down for being that far forward, like that Zarya almost all the time was in a very bad position. I would call that poor positioning. They did not have a Reinhardt for the whole first half of that game, and she was in a very poor position, especially when going as a Widowmaker, because she's wide out in the open and easy to fucking pick off. But since you were missing your shots, it made her feel a lot more confident. That's why they were rolling your team. But if you were actually hitting your shot, she'd have been so fucking unconfident, she probably would have switched off the damn character. Because she is in such a bad position the entire game. Nothing in the entire game could have helped her with all the damage that was coming at her. But y'all just never took that opportunity into killing her. She died a couple of times, but that just isn't enough, man. She should have been dying all the time, man. She should have literally been dying all the time. She was so far out of position. But that's the second thing. The third thing is knowing when to be aggressive, because sometimes you go on these wild, crazy flanks when your entire team is dead, or you're pushing forward when your entire team is dead, and you get no value out of it, and you feed and you die, and you give the enemy ult charge. Being aware of the game is probably one of the biggest parts of the game, especially as Widowmaker. Game sense is wholly dependent on Widowmaker, because if your team isn't doing good, you should not be there. You should not be in that area. Nowhere even fucking close. You should be completely away from your team if the team is not doing good. But if your team is doing good, just try to remain on high ground behind them. Don't try to push too fucking far ahead of them. Sometimes being super aggressive is, good. Especially whenever they're coming out of spawn and they're coming out of spawn. As you saw, as soon as they come out of spawn, they're just brain dead, right? They're just walking in straight lines. Bing, dead. Bing, dead. But after you get that amount of value, you have to kind of evaluate to yourself, when is a good time for me to leave here? And usually, it's after you get the 2 picks, or after you get the pick, right? You just kind of want to leave. You don't want to hang around too long, because they're going to know where you're at, and they're going to hit you. So, you just want to leave from that area completely and just go somewhere else. So, those are the main points I'd probably want you to take from this. Just work on those, and I promise you'll reach another rank, because you're hitting good shots, right? You're hitting probably the harder shots of the game. You just need to start hitting those easier shots. Once you start hitting those easier shots, kind of slowing your aim down a little bit, looking a little more into accuracy than actual speed, you'll probably be doing a lot better. And you probably even hit, I'd say with the way that you're aiming right now, you could very easily hit mid to high diamond by at least the end of the season. If you just practice and then, follow those general rules, you should definitely hit like mid to high diamond by at least the end of the season. Or at least even get close to even peaking masters, because your aim is really decent. It's really decent, and that's all you really need with Widowmaker is decent aim on console. To push you over the edge, improve the aim, and get even better at it. And then you'll just skyrocket. Because if you have truly good aim in the game, it's going to reflect on your rank. Like I promise you. That's 100% a promise. Because the same thing happened to me whenever I went from playing Hanzo to switching over to playing Tracer and Soldier. My Hanzo was GM. I was literally GM since Season 5, and I was Master since Season 3. And all I played was Hanzo. Hanzo's a projectile-based character, so I was really good at projectile-based characters for a long time. But then Hanzo got heavy nerfs in like Season 8 and Season 9, so I was just like, fuck, man, I can't play Hanzo anymore. I'm going to have to switch over to Tracer or Soldier because they were really good picks, and they had a lot of value for the team, and they didn't really seem to be, moving too much inside the meta spectrum. So I was like, okay, I guess they just seem like a good pick almost all the time. And it turns out they are. They're just like an average pick, and they're only really good if you're really good at the character. So I just started playing Tracer and Soldier a lot. But my Tracer and Soldier definitely wasn't GM level because my tracking was not GM level. it was definitely like a low masters, high diamond level. So my SR severely reflected that because I dropped from GM, which I was like mid to high GM, all the way down to low to mid masters because my aiming was just not that great. But I kept practicing more and more and more, and I hit top 500 within season 10. Literally over a course of a season, I improved that much to where I got from low to mid masters into GM. Because you just need to make sure you practice your aim, and if you're practicing your aim well enough and you're learning from your mistakes, you're gonna gain SR. That's just a fact. So just take these criticisms into mind. Don't take it as I'm bantering you, because again, I'm gonna call you you are a pretty decently good Widowmaker. You just need to practice. If you practice more and you work on those positional errors, you'll do fine. You do probably even more than fine if you continue to practice your aim. And that is it. That is all I gotta say from the VOD. I hope you do like this information. I hope you do like these types of coaching. If you have any different types of heroes you want to probably ask me questions on or send me different VODs of, feel free to, because again, I play every single character basically. I no longer just main one or two characters. I basically play every single character. I create even new accounts just to even practice characters, and I try to at least get them to at least mid masters to high masters level. So I practice basically every single character. So any character that you probably have you need help with, I probably can help you with. So yeah, thanks for asking for help, and I hope this really helps you in the future. All right.